Hey y'all, welcome to Sunshine Haze. I'm Aja. For those of you guys that are always tuning into my channel, thank you for watching. For my new subscribers, what's up, what's good, welcome. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for watching the video. First and foremost, this is not a moon video, this is a retrograde video. So before I even get started, I do have moon videos up. We are currently in the Cancer lunar season, so I do have a new moon in Cancer video up. We just had a wild ass full moon and a total lunar eclipse in Aquarius, and I do have that video up as well, so those links are down in the description box. Just go on and check them out. So as I said, this is a retrograde video. This is the one that y'all know the most about, but don't really know the most about, if that makes sense. So I did want to put out a little video giving you guys some insight into, you know, what is going on during Mercury Retrograde. The joy. Brace yourselves, because it's in a fire sign again. This Mercury Retrograde is in Leo. My Mercury is in Leo, so I'm just sitting here thinking about how wild my life is about to be for the next few weeks, right? Before I even start talking in this video, my allergies are on 10 today. I've been looking at Google sideways all day because it says moderate pollen, which I'm typically not like this with moderate pollen, so I'm a little hurt, like I wasn't expecting this for the day. But you know, whatever. Anyways, like I said, brace yourself. So Mercury went into retrograde, and in true Mercury retrograde fashion, I've had this video planned out for like 2 weeks before the retrograde, and here we are on August 1st and I'm recording this video to upload for you guys today, but we're still fresh. So the retrograde started on July 26th in 23 degrees, which is already wild off bat, and I will tell you guys a little bit more about the numerology a little bit further into the video. And it's going to end on August 19th in a couple weeks in 11 degrees, which is also wild too, because we're in an 11 year. And what I really want to know right now is, you know, what's good, universe? Like, this retrograde, the Mercury went into retrograde on the first day of the new planetary year, the day before a full moon and a total lunar eclipse, underneath the Cancer lunar cycle in Leo solar season. Like, are you just trying to play us to the left or what? And I think what I really think the answer is, I'll take, how bad can I fuck up your life for $200? Like, gosh, like, that's crazy. The energy has been wildly intense, very interesting to say the least, because we're dealing with Aquarius energy and Cancer energy together, and that's just weird. It's just strange. It's air and water, and then we've got this fire thrown in there with this Mercury retrograde. So, you know, it's a lot of crazy things going on, a lot of weird stuff going on right now, and that's just because the energy is very off. I said in my video about the Aquarius full moon and the eclipse that I've been feeling like I've just kind of been walking through a dream. Like, life has just been very, I don't even know how to describe it. Life has been very hazy for the past few days, and it's just been very interesting. And I do know I'm ruled mostly by the moon. I'm a Cancer sun, Cancer moon, Cancer Venus. My Saturn is in Aquarius in my first house, and I've got planets in the degrees that the moon is in, and I think I might have some planets in these degrees too. I'm actually not sure. I would have to look at that, but you know what? I think my rising sign is in 24 degrees, and this retrograde is in 23 degrees. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So for those of you guys that don't know what a retrograde is, or think that a retrograde means the planet is like, oh, hold up, let me move on for a second. No. A retrograde is an optical illusion. It's when a planet, it has to do with the planet's relative position to Earth and their position to the sun and its movement around it. So when a planet goes retrograde, it seems as if a planet is moving backwards to us, but it's not. It's literally an optical illusion. As I said earlier, Mercury is the most known retrograde. It is the retrograde that kind of like everybody knows about. You see posts all over the internet like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. Mars retrograde is pretty wild for us too, but Mercury is very wild because it is a personal planet. So that is why it affects us in the physical so much, as opposed to like Saturn or Neptune or Uranus. That affects us a little bit more on a higher level or a subconscious level. Mercury is a personal planet, and it governs, you know, our intellect and our logic. And in the physical, it governs in the physical, it has to do with our travel, with our communications, with the ways that we're thinking about things. So like it has to do, it can come in and shake up those energies, and those energies, you don't really think about how intricate they are to your day to day until Mercury is in retrograde, right? I know, crazy. So while Mercury is in retrograde, although crazy things are happening, this planet going retrograde is really a time for us to kind of reflect, take a little bit of time for some introspection. And while we're thinking about those things, also take the time out to, what is going on? Like, what are you guys doing? You're making a lot of noise. You should just go inside. Sorry, y'all. Mercury retrograde is really a good time for us to kind of reflect and correct. Reflect and correct. That's what you should think about with Mercury retrograde. So when things are going crazy, take that time to reflect on why they're going crazy, and then take some time to figure out how you can correct those things, right? Dealing with Mercury, the things that are really going to be affected are our conversations, logic, what we're doing, where we're going, how we're getting there. So like the first Mercury retrograde of this year, I was supposed to be on a flight on March 6th, and my ass missed my entire flight. Mercury retrograde shit. Finally made it to where I was going like a week or so later, and I'm not one that's known for dropping and breaking my phone. Where's the wood? Knock on wood. But it's a little sus outside right now. Sorry, y'all. So what's going on over there? Anyways, what was I saying? I was giving y'all examples. Oh, I'm not known for breaking my phones. I have a completely new phone now, guys, because I dropped my shit, and I had it for 3 years. I was always dropping my phone. Had that phone for like 3 years, and it cracked during the Mercury retrograde. I thought the flight was gonna be it, but Mercury was retrograding in another fire sign, wild ass Aries. So it is what it is. It's not very graceful. Mercury is just not a graceful planet. It's associated with the sign of Gemini, which is another air sign, which is known for having wild energy. So that's why Mercury is so wild to us in general when it's in retrograde, because it's associated with Gemini. But Mercury being the planet associated with Gemini, being in a fire sign, being in retrograde, air and fire are compatible, and when they come together, that is a very intense energy. So that is why Mercury retrograde this time around is so intense, and it's in Leo. Leo is the sign associated with the self. So the retrograde this time around is really going to be affecting the way that we're expressing ourselves. So as I was saying in the full moon in Aquarius video, there's going to be a lot of conversations going on this month that are literally just going to carry the energy of, I'm saying this to you because this is how I feel, and I'm not going to let anybody walk over me, and I want to be heard. That is that Leo energy coming out with the Mercury retrograde. Now, when you come out of that energy of, I gotta let you know what's good, I gotta let you know what's up, and I don't care how it comes across, I need to let you know how I feel, because I don't want to feel like this, or whatever the case may be. When you do take some of that time to, why is it so busy over here right now? When you do take some of this, probably like 5 o'clock, I think it's the time that people be getting off of work. Sorry, y'all. when you do take a little step back and do that reflecting and correcting that I was talking about earlier in the video with Mercury Retrograde, you will start to see where there needs to be improvement in the way that you are communicating with people, in the way that you do come across. Because we're dealing with Leo energy, we're dealing with people's perception of us as well. That's a very heavy energy during this time. So when you are taking the time to use the retrograde to actually reflect as opposed to allowing it to just affect you, you'll start to come to a point to where you say, okay, I see that me talking to so-and-so like this is actually a problem, and this is why they're reacting to me in this way. You'll see, oh, I see why doing that the way that I do it may seem a little off to other people, and maybe I should either explain this to them, or maybe I should think about taking their suggestions and changing some of my routines. So Mercury retrograde doesn't always have to be, you know, this wild, crazy thing. You can actually use it to make improvements in your lives. It's just the energy is just wild and crazy, and it's very hard for us to shield ourselves from these planetary energies because we all have these planets in our charts. We're all affected a little bit differently, but it does still govern certain aspects of our lives, and things get shifted and things get changed. And especially with all the energy that we're working with during this particular year, this 11 year, I'm like, okay, 2019 should slow down, but that's a 3-year, and Saturn's still in Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoo, yeah, crazy. Shit's crazy. Because we're dealing with the fire sign, going back to talking about Mercury and Leo, because we're dealing with the fire sign, though I was saying it doesn't have to be hectic. Fire energy is very passionate. Fire energy is all about action. It's all about, you know, drive. Because this is a retrograde, we're going to be we're going to be dealing with a little bit more of the shadow aspects of the fire element. So we could be looking at being very impulsive in the way that we're taking action. We could be looking at possibly just like blurting shit out and not thinking before we're speaking, and in turn causing, you know, a little bit of a little bit of chaos, a little, possibly stirring up a little bit of drama in the things that we're saying. Leo is a fixed sign, and we're dealing with a lot of fixed energy right now anyways because of this eclipse in Aquarius. Aquarius is opposite Leo, which is the sign that comes in the middle of the seasons, and Leo is in the middle of the summer season. So we're dealing with, on top of this Mercury energy, we're dealing with fixed energy, which is all about building and building upon the change. Because we're in retrograde, we're going to be seeing where the work that we're putting in regards to the things that we're trying to do, we're going to be, if you're taking the time to reflect, reevaluate, and correct, going to be looking at where you're putting your energy and where you're doing your work, and I guess if it's working for you, seeing if, you know, your approach is making things happen the way that you want it to, or if your approach needs to be changed, or if, you know, you need to do some more research. That Mercury retrograde energy is really good for that as well. So just a little insight, if you have a Mercury retrograde in your natal chart, you're typically somebody who has an issue with your communication. You also may have a very different outlook from other people, or your outlook may seem a little, it could go one of two ways. Like, you may have a very eccentric outlook, or you may have a very, like, very, very concrete, like, traditional outlook that is almost too traditional for anybody traditional, if that makes sense. And I said lack communication skills, and that could mean, like, you either just don't know how to talk to people, or you just talk to people reckless all the time, or you just don't know how to talk to people and you're very timid, very shy, find it very hard to communicate the things that you want to with other people. So that is what people with natal Mercury retrograde deal with on a day-to-day. That energy is going to be kind of surrounding us during this time. So having a hard time talking to people, or talking to people reckless out the side of your neck, like that's what we're going to be dealing with during this time. And it's going to be even more amplified because it is in a fire sign. So there's going to be passion and anger and like raw energy behind it, if that makes sense, y'all. Now, earlier I was like, ooh, this is retrograde is happening in 23 degrees, which is already wild. So I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about the numerology of this retrograde. 23 degrees. The 2 energy is all about cohesiveness, cooperation, peace, and harmony. And 3 energy is all about creation, collaboration, coming together as well. So this retrograde coming in this energy is in the 23rd degree energy is kind of saying, okay, where do you need to lend more of your energy to these aspects in your life? Where do you need to be more harmonious? Where do you need to work a little bit better with people? Where do you need to create more? Like, where should you be sending your energy as opposed to where you've been sending your energy? Okay. Where are we at on my paper? Sorry, y'all. So 23 degrees. And when dealing with numerology, you typically break down to 1 digit unless it's a master number. 23 breaks down to the number 5. If the energy in the universe was not already wild enough, dealing with a 5 energy with a retrograde is like, whoo, you're really trying to take us out. Like, what? Like, what do we need to see? 5 is a number of transformation and change, and 5 is not always a very graceful number. 5 is not always reckless, but for the most part, 5 carries, when it comes to like days and planetary energies and things like that, 5 does carry a very intense energy. It is the number of change. It is the number of transformation. It is the number of, breaking things up and shifting things and bringing in change and phasing out the things that are not working for us. So this 5, this 23 degrees breaking down into 5 in Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo is going to be showing us, like I was saying a little bit earlier, like where do we need to change now with our self-expression and within ourselves, okay? Moving on to when Mercury is going direct again. This one was the one that had me like, what? Okay, what's going on with Mercury? Mercury goes direct on August 19th in 11 degrees. And first and foremost, and I don't have this in my notes, but I just thought about this, I'm not sure of the numerology for that day. Really? That's crazy. So the numerology, so the 19th breaks down to 1. So it goes into 10, breaks down to 1. The numerology for that day, if my math is correct. Oh. That would make it a 2-day. Actually, no. Okay, so the actual day is the 19th. This planet goes direct in 11 degrees on a 1 day, not necessarily a 1 day, but the day is 1. So that's all about new beginnings. 11 is 1, double that number amplified, and we're under an 11 year. We're under an 11 year, which is also a 2 year, and this happens on a 2 day if my math is correct. So, all this stuff is divine timing, but the Mercury going direct in that degree on that day is really an indicator of the things that we're reflecting on during this time, you guys, the things that, the ways in which we see where we need to change, the ways that we're expressing ourselves, and where we need to shift our perspective, saying that the things happening during this retrograde are very important and very, 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 very necessary for us, if that makes sense. And this Mercury retrograde happening after this Leo Aquarius eclipse, but on the Leo Aquarius axis is just saying like, yo, these things, these changes are really putting you, or really preparing you for the work that's going to be coming up within your life, for all of these interactions that you're going to be coming into. Remember that this is the soulmate year, you guys. So just keep in mind that this Mercury retrograde is actually, the retrogrades, I look more so at the moon and how the moon affects me, but this particular retrograde is going to have a major effect on the way that we're transforming ourselves and the way that we're trying to raise our vibrations, okay? Falls in the 7th month. 7 is the divine number, just another confirmation that everything that's happening right now is supposed to be happening. We're in a very karmic year too. We're in the first year of Saturn being in Capricorn, so I feel like I should put, I talked about that a little bit in one of my first videos, but it was a moon video. I think I should put out a video on Saturn and Capricorn, because I say it all the time, and I know half of y'all be like, okay, and that means, so maybe I'll put out a video on that. Y'all let me know. But okay, y'all. 7 is also associated with, like introspection, and this being a Mercury retrograde, that is an energy that we are going to want to tap into. So, this retrograde is all about the reevaluation of the ways that we're expressing ourselves, our communication skills and our perspective. But the ways that we are reflecting on these things are going to come in with a very passionate, fiery energy. So, like, just keep in mind during this time, you may be bumping heads, you may be clashing with people. People may not understand what you're trying to say. You may not understand what people are trying to say. Things may be miscommunicated. A lot of confusion may be going on, dealing with that Aquarius moon and eclipse energy, being under Cancer, lunar energy, and this Cancer cycle, dealing with, all of these emotions and stuff. So there may be a lot of confusion going on right now. Things may just seem completely out of whack, and Mercury doesn't care. But what I will say is when Mercury goes direct is also a really good time to reflect on these things. Y'all, I did a Mercury retrograde reading for myself, and I was like, oh no, you can have it back, okay? You can take that back. I don't need that. Keep that same energy. Keep it. I don't want it. So, a lot of reflection, a lot of shifts are going to be happening now if you guys are actually putting in that energy to look at what needs to be changed within your lives and in your perspectives, okay? People that are going to be affected by this retrograde are going to be people with Mercury in retrograde. For sure, if you have Mercury in retrograde in Leo, if you've got Mercury in Leo, I'm very interested to see, one of my parents has Mercury in retrograde in Leo. The other one just has Mercury in Leo, and I have Mercury in Leo. So I'm very interested in seeing how, now that I know about these things, I'm curious to see how this goes down for us. I have read and heard that people with planets in retrograde, when the retrograde rolls around, it either like fucks shit up for them, or it brings in like a really like cool, positive, like get her done energy. So I'm very curious to see. And then I see, I've read that like if you just have that planet in that sign, like you'll actually, it's a really good time of reflection for you. So I'm always learning, y'all. We'll see. I'll let y'all know in the next retrograde. It'll be coming around when we roll into Sagittarius. So just, I'll let y'all know. I always watch my videos before these series events. So I will let y'all know how Mercury retrograde in Leo went for myself and my parents in a few months. What I said, Mercury in Leo. If you got Mercury in a fire sign, you can expect to be affected too. Leo heavy charts. If you've got a lot of Leo in your chart, this retrograde is probably gonna shake you up a little bit. What else? If you've got planets in 23 degrees or 11 degrees or very close to that, I say within 2 to 3 degrees. I have read some astrologers like to use like within like 6 degrees. I feel like that's pushing it. So for me, within a couple or a few degrees of 23 or 11, if you've got personal planets in those degrees, especially if you've got Mercury in that degree or any of your Leo planets in that degree, you can definitely expect some shit to go down or something to change. I'm thinking about the readings that I've done for myself, and I've been pulling the Tower, I've been pulling the 8 of Wands. What else? I pulled the Wheel of Fortune, the Death card. Like, it's all shifting, it's all changing. As I said earlier, we just came into a new planetary year, so the energy is weird and intense right now. It will come to pass, but just so y'all have a little bit of insight, that's what's going on. All right, you guys, check out the rest of my retrograde videos. We've got Neptune, we've got Saturn, we've got Pluto, we've got Mars in retrograde, Jupiter just went direct. And with that being said, I do have an ongoing retrograde sale. Whenever a planet is in retrograde, you can get a retrograde reading for that planet for only $10. Only $10, only $10. If the planet's not in retrograde, I can still give you a reading to reflect on that, but it would be full price. I also have eclipse readings sales as well, $20 eclipse reading sale. And you can book readings with me through my Etsy shop or hit me up via email. All of that info is down in the description box. And now speaking of what's going on down there, go on and hit the like button for me if you like this video. If you have any questions or comments about anything that I said in this video, you need me to clarify anything, just go on and drop that down below. I do check my channel pretty frequently, so I'll get back to you within a couple days. Said like it, drop comments. If you know anybody, especially if you know anybody who's always blaming shit on Mercury, go on and send them this video. Or if you know anybody who be like, what is that? Go on and send them this video. And for those of you guys that do share my videos already, I really truly appreciate y'all. Like, that's how I get a lot of growth on my channel. And subscribe. If you feel like I gave you some information, like if you feel like I really kicked some game to you, go on and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with when I put out new videos. Any other plugs for myself? Yeah, I got other videos out. Watch all of them retrograde videos. I've got hella retrograde videos up. There's a playlist link. We are still in the Cancer lunar cycle. Check out the Cancer new moon tarot forecast and that Cancer new moon video. Also talking about the Cancer eclipse that we had. Check out my full moon in Aquarius and total lunar eclipse video, because that is why everything is so crazy right now. I also have summer solstice tarot readings up as well. Also, you guys, and I'm gonna put up a video about all the things that I have going on right now, but I am adding chakra bracelets to my Etsy shop. You guys can still get pendants. This is one of the smaller ones. This is one I made for myself, but my pendants are a little bit bigger. You can get pendants and you can get chakra bracelets, and I have on a dress, so I can't show you my waist beads right now, but you can also get waist beads from me. And in due time, I will be adding some products from some other of my fellow, mystical queens out there. So just watch out for that as well. But as of right now, those are the products that you can get from me. Those listings will be actually updated this week, you guys. And I think that's it. I think I'm done plugging myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank y'all for rocking with me. We have made it past the half-year mark, so really excited to see where the rest of these videos take me and to, continue interacting with all of y'all. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Good luck with this Mercury and Leo retrograde shit, for real though.